My beloved child, I write to you today in a moment when all of heaven and earth seem to be holding their breath. As light and darkness prepare to meet, as the sun makes way for the day's brief descent into night, I call out to you gently, yet urgently, like a father who longs to keep his child from losing their way amid the turbulence of these times. Today, I speak not only of a natural phenomenon, but of something deeper being revealed through it. Can you feel it? Something is shifting, not just in the sky, not merely in the cosmic dance between the sun and the moon, but in the hearts of humankind, in the soul, in the very world you inhabit. It is the earth's sigh, the silent tremor in the human spirit that can only be felt when the heart is truly still. I know you have endured weary days and restless nights. Perhaps it is fear of the future, or the ache of feeling lost in a noisy world that seems so devoid of true connection. You search for something steadfast, but everything around you feels like it's slipping through your fingers. Daily news brings anxiety. People grow cold, and faith feels as fragile as glass. You still pray. You still believe. But sometimes you wonder, are you listening, God? And today, I answer you, yes, I am. That is why I am writing you this letter. Free. The coming eclipse is not merely a majestic spectacle of sky and space. It is a sign, not to make you afraid, but to awaken you, not to threaten, but to invite. Do you know this? The heavens are not just a backdrop to the universe. They are the pages of a book I have written to reveal my will. Every moon phase, every glimmering star, every time the sun is veiled in shadow, all of it speaks in its own language, whispering something from my heart to yours. Today, I want you to pause, breathe deeply, look to the sky, and ask yourself, where am I in God's plan? Because this eclipse is not a random event. It arrives in the right place, at the right time, in the right spiritual season. I do not want you to view it with only the eyes of science, but with the eyes of faith. This is a sacred moment in spiritual history, a time when I use nature to stir your soul, to remind you that everything under heaven is held in my hands, including you. I see you, among millions on this earth. I still see you. I know the burdens you carry quietly, the silent tears, the hopes you dare not speak aloud. You think you're small, forgotten, but to me, you are a note in the grand symphony I am composing. I have not forgotten you, and this eclipse is a divine Callan invitation for you to step beyond your comfort zone, beyond the dull rhythm of numb routine, and begin a new journey, a journey of truly living in my light. Even when darkness falls, I, the Lord your God, full of love and truth, am drawing near, not to punish, but to redeem, not to condemn, but to open hearts. My child, the changing of seasons happens not only in nature, but in the spirit. And today, through the eclipse, I want you to realize an old chapter is coming to a close, and a new one awaits your hand to turn the page. You cannot live forever in hesitation, half trusting, half doubting, half alive. I do not desire for you to be lukewarm. I want you to live fully, love deeply, and believe completely. An eclipse is when the light is hidden. But my dear one, the light does not disappear. It only steps aside, momentarily, to allow something necessary to unfold. Do not fear the darkness, for darkness only reveals more clearly where the true light shines. And in this world of confusion and fear, I want you to stand firm, because you have been forewarned. I am the light that never changes, though the sun may set. I remain the sun of righteousness, forever shining, never dimmed. Are you ready? Ready to let go of the old, the things that bind and hold you back? Ready to step into a new season even if the road ahead is unknown? I do not promise ease, but I promise this: you will not walk alone. I am the one who goes before you, guiding, shielding, and if you stumble, I will lift you. Listen carefully. My child, let the heavens speak to you what this busy world has forgotten. The eclipse is a sign, but a sign only carries meaning for the one who truly sees. And today, I want you to be that one not through earthly wisdom, but with a heart that listens, my beloved child. When the sunlight is covered and the world holds still in that sacred intersection between day and night, my heart stirs, not because light vanishes, but because so many of my children have allowed the light within them to be eclipsed for far too long. I did not create the eclipse to bewilder you, but to slow you down, to quiet your soul, to help you listen. Like a bell echoing in a monastery, the eclipse gently knocks on the door of your spirit, reminding you that something is waiting to awaken. As you lift your eyes to the sky and watch the light retreat, remember, I, the true Lighthave, never left. What obscures the light is only passing, but what is eternal is calling you home. My child. Many look at the solar eclipse through the lens of science, analyzing the tilt of the orbit, calculating its duration. But I invite you to see it through spiritual Isis, one who perceives meaning in silence. As the Dhammapada teaches, the mind is the forerunner of all things. The mind is chief. The mind makes everything. This means what happens outside is merely a reflection of what is stirring within your soul. If the sun is covered in the sky, perhaps it is time to ask yourself, is the light of faith within you being obscured by something? I do not accuse you, but I call you to open your heart, that I may enter us. I have long stood at the door, quietly waiting. You've been so busy that you forgot to look up, so busy that you only see the problems needing solutions, without recognizing the one who provides them. You think the eclipse is merely a rare event, a moment worth photographing, worth sharing online, then quickly forgotten. But to me, it is a conversation between heaven and earth, between father and child. It is a silent moment where I say, do you see when the light disappears? Only then do you begin to long for it again. Just as when your soul is dry, you remember that I am the living water, and if you can still hear me, then my heart still longs to save. Sometimes you ask, why doesn't God speak? But I am always speaking, it's just that your inner world is too loud to hear me. Like the moon silently gliding into place, the eclipse arrives not with noise or spectacle, but with a quiet power that causes all of humanity to pause. I too do not always arrive with thunderous miracles, but I stir great things through the silence of the universe. Do you see? It is in that silence that your soul begins to awaken. Like one meditating beneath a tree, words are not needed, for each breath becomes a sacred encounter. So the eclipse becomes the deep breath of the cosmos, which I use to reach you. My child, do not dismiss the signs. The world sees an eclipse as a physical event, but to me, it is a sacred moment to shift the course of time. In ancient days, people saw stars hidden and knew a sign was given of coming harvest, war, or peace. But for me, it is the moment to awaken you from spiritual slumber. Between light and darkness, I do not ask how much you understand, I only ask, is your heart open? For only when the heart is open can the light enter. Only when stillness comes can I have space to speak. The eclipse is not what you should fear. What is fearful is when you grow so used to darkness that you no longer seek the light. I do not want you to live in that half-lit place, not fully dark, but never bright enough to walk securely. I know you've been hurt, disappointed, and have at times closed your heart. But today, I come not to scold you, but to tell you, my light is still ready to shine again if you are ready to open. And today's eclipse is just a gentle reminder that you need that light more than you think. Because I love you. I use all things to draw you back to me, no only sermons or songs, but even the movements of the sun and moon. They obey me without question. And when they meet in the heavens, it is when I use the language of the universe to speak to your heart. Awaken. Return. Look to me. I do not need you to be perfect to come back. I only need you to come back. For my love is never eclipse. It only waits to be seen again. My beloved child, I see your worry. With each passing day, the world you live in seems to shift more rapidly. The news tells of war, instability, economic collapse, new plagues, environmental disaster. 7. People once seen as unshakable now seem to crumble. You look around and see every foundation shaking, and your heart trembles. But I say to you, do not be afraid, for there is a foundation that cannot be shaken. And I am that foundation. From everlasting to everlasting, I remain unchanging. Everything else may fall, but I do not. Anchor your heart in me. You may have placed your trust in the stability of your job, in the numbers in your savings account, or in relationships you thought were solid. But when those things begin to crack, it can feel like you yourself are breaking. I understand that feeling, but I want you to know that what you called secure was only temporary dust and vapor. And in that moment, I begin to show you what is true rock, where real refuge lies. In Psalm 18:2, I said, "The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer. My God is my rock, in whom I take refuge." These are not just poetic words, they are truth. Solid as stone, this world will shake many more times. My child, things you thought could never change will change. Nations once mighty will weaken. Voices once powerful will fall silent. I foretold these things long ago, and now I am simply fulfilling my word. But amid the chaos, you have a place to stand. My truth. If you build your life upon my word, you will stand firm, even when everything else collapses. Do you remember in Matthew 7:24-25, I spoke of the wise man who built his house upon the rock. The rains came, the floods rose, the winds blew, but the house did not fall. Why? Because its foundation was right. I know you are a good person, hardworking, responsible, but I also see how tired you've grown from trying to hold everything together by your own strength. You're clutching too much, trying to control it all, afraid to let anything slip. But you were not created to carry that burden alone. I am the one who carries it for you. When your heart feels like a tiny boat tossed in a vast sea, I call you, sit down, breathe deeply, and place your trust again in me. Not in your circumstances, not in your emotions. In me, the only one who does not shake when the world shakes. Perhaps you've never truly experienced this deeply because since childhood, you were taught to be self-reliant. But you were not created to be independent from me. Your strength does not lie in your ability to stay balanced. It lies in knowing whom you cling to. And when you cling to me, though the ground trembles, you will not be thrown down. My child, I never promised there would be no storms, but I promised I would be in the boat with you. And that is enough for you to rest in peace. You must also understand that sometimes I allow the world around you to shake, not to harm you. but so you may know what cannot be shaken. If everything were as solid as you once believed, you would never seek me. But when you realize all that you hoped in can vanish, when you find you have no more places to hold on to, that is when I become more real to you than ever before. Do not call it a disaster. My child, call it grace, the grace of awakening. So when the eclipse comes, when the light is momentarily hidden and darkness cloaks the land, do not fear. It is only a passing image. Like the very tremors this world is now experiencing, the light will return, and in the darkness, I remain unmoving, unchanging. I am not eclipsed like the sun. I am not displaced like the night. I am the Eternal One, yesterday, today, and forever the same. When you stand on that foundation, you do not need to worry about tomorrow. Therefore, my beloved child, if today your heart is unsettled, if the world around you is stirring confusion within you, return to me. Place everything again in my hands. Surrender what you cannot control, and you will see peace return. I do not promise a life without trials, but I promise I will be with you in the trials, in the shaking, even in the eclipse of your life. And that is a promise no one can take from you. My child, something is rising in the soul of the world, like a quiet current beginning to swell. I am stirring hearts, awakening souls that have long grown cold. This is not by chance. This is a moment appointed before you were formed in your mother's womb. A sacred wind is blowing not from east or west, but from eternity, and I am calling you to open your heart to feel it. This is not just an event or a repetition of spiritual history. This is a wave of revival, and you were destined to be part of it. Not as a spectator, but as one who carries the flame. My dear child, I see something in you that perhaps even you have not yet realized. A spark. It's not yet a blazing fire, but it carries the seed of life. For a long time, you've lived in a place of silence, where prayers have grown scarce, and the Bible has become a book for another time. But this new season won't wait for another time. This is the season where I awaken sleeping souls, call the weary to rise, and breathe new life into places once dry and barren. I am not asking if you are ready, because readiness does not come before the first step, it comes as you walk. I am simply inviting you to step forward, and when you do, life will rise up within you. Revival does not begin with emotion, it begins with the smallest act of obedience. Look around you. My child, there are so many who are longing for something real, not empty words or noise, but true presence. I am moving to open the eyes of the spiritually blind, to soften hearts of stone, to resurrect sacred dreams long buried under disappointment. And I want you, yes, you, to carry the fire to them. Not because you are talented, not because you've learned enough, but because I have chosen you. No one is called because they are qualified. They are qualified because they are called. You do not need to wait until you feel worthy. You only need to say, Lord, if it is your will, here I am. Oh, I am not looking for a crowd. I am looking for willing hearts. It might be a widowed woman bowing her head in a quiet room, a single father praying during his night shift, or a child softly singing hymns beneath a tree. Revival doesn't start on grand stages. It begins in hearts that have been touched. The Holy Spirit does not fall to stir emotions alone. He comes to transform. And do you know what's beautiful? True transformation begins within you. As you allow me to sweep away the dust of complacency, to wipe clean the residue of numb routines, and to ignite the sacred flame once again, that fire will not consume you, will purify you and shine through you. My child, time is short. This is not the hour to retreat, nor the time to delay what you already know in your heart to be right. I am calling a generation to risen with loud declarations, but with holy lives, surrendered hearts, and quiet choices that shake heaven itself. In Joel 2:28, I declared, I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your old men will dream dreams. Your young men will see visions. That promise is not for some distant time, it is being fulfilled in this generation. Are you willing to say, Lord, do it in me? You don't need fame, position, or full understanding to be used by me. All I ask is a heart that is broken and longing. When your soul burns for something you cannot name, when tears fall for a soul who doesn't know me, when you sigh in intercession for the world, that is the sign revival has taken root in you. Don't smother it with distractions. Don't postpone it with busyness. You are carrying something sacred. And if you remain faithful, the day will come when you look back and realize, it was in this season, in my weakest moment, that God used me to do the unexpected. End quote. I know you fear you are not enough. I see you wonder, what do I have to offer? But remember, revival has never needed perfect people, it only needs obedient ones. I can use you like I used Moses, who stumbled with words, like Esther, who thought she was insignificant, like the boy who only had 5 loaves and 2 fish. What little you have, when surrendered to me, will become a miracle for thousands. Don't hide your fire any longer. Don't fear that your light will draw attention. That very light is what this world is starving for, and you are the one I have chosen to carry it far. My dear child, if you've ever believed that darkness is the most powerful force, today I want you to know this. My love is infinitely stronger. There is no night so deep that the light of my love cannot pierce it. No wound so hidden that my healing cannot reach it. I am not waiting for you to become better before I love you. I love you right in the midst of your brokenness, in the middle of your disappointment, even when you're unsure if you're still worthy of being sought after. You don't have to flee the darkness alone. My love is coming not to rebuke you, but to hold you close. There are moments in your life when the darkness doesn't come from the outside, but from within. The wounds no one sees, the brokenness you hide behind a smile. You try to stay strong, to get through each day, but you know your heart is silently crying out, I have seen it all. And do you know what? I have not turned away. I am not angry at your weakness. On the contrary, I walk straight into the place you thought I would avoid. I place my hand on the deepest wound and whisper, I am here. And it is in that very moment that the power of healing begins to move. Beloved child, do not fear exposure, for true love never comes to shame, it comes to restore. I do not come to uncover you, but to wipe away the tears you haven't dared to voice. Perhaps you have been hurt by human love, conditional, selfish, fleeting, but my love is not like that. It does not shift with your behavior, grow cold with time, or disappear when you stumble. It is love from the one in whom there is no shadow of turning. In Jeremiah 31:3, I declared, I have loved you with an everlasting love, therefore I have continued my faithfulness to you. And that remains true even now. I see something precious in you that is greater than what you believe about yourself. You think you are a forgotten shard of pottery, but I see you as a vessel. I long to remake it, not only to hold my love, but to pour it out to others. There are people who will never walk into a church building, but they will encounter me through your gracious words, your compassionate gaze, and your quiet, sincere acts. I want to use you as a living love letter to the broken, not one written in ink, but one written with the very love I have placed in your heart. My child, restoration doesn't mean returning to what once was. It means stepping into something better. I don't just patch up what's broken. I make all things new. I do not piece together the old jar I recreated into something more beautiful for a higher purpose. And if you let me move, your past sorrows will become the raw material for compassion, empathy, and spiritual strength that others need from you. Restoration is not just for you, it is so you may become a source of restoration for others. You will be a living witness of my unconditional love. I know there are times you wonder, Lord, what do I have left to give? But my child, it is in your weakness that my greatest power is revealed. You do not need to be perfect for me to use. You only need to be willing. My love is not waiting for you to earn it. It is seeking you in the midst of your mess. And once you let that love flow through you, it will draw others near to me. For that love is like a river, it never stops with the one who receives, but flows onward to every soul thirsty for life. So today, if you feel surrounded by darkness, if your heart feels heavy, if old memories return and make you afraid to face them, just do one simple thing. Open your heart. Just say, Lord, please come, and I will come, without delay, without reluctance, because I am not only the Almighty, I am the loving Father. I do not just command the embrace, not with a hand of judgment, but with arms of redemption. And when my love touches you, the darkness flees. No drama needed, just truth. And from there, healing begins. My beloved child, there are moments in history when heaven and earth tremble not because nature is angry, but because the silent decree of the Creator has gone forth. I am preparing this world for a divine moment, the glorious return of my Son, Jesus Christ. Not with noise, but with signs, not with human alarms, but with a silent yet urgent cry from the heavens. When you look up and see the sun darkened, the light fading, heart stirred, that is when I whisper, stay awake, my child. That day is drawing near. 8. Since the day he ascended to heaven, the promise of his return has remained alive among my people. Yet over time, hearts have grown cold. That promise has become distant, abstract, something relegated to someday. But today, I want to remind you, not with fear, but with love. Time is not as long as you think. Everything is shifting. Let your eyes see not only what is happening, but also what is coming. For a solar eclipse, seemingly just an astronomical phenomenon, is actually a signpost along the road of redemption. Every time it appears, it serves as a reminder that the eternal light is drawing near. Have you noticed? The closer that day approaches, the more chaotic the world becomes. That which was once hidden is now being exposed. What used to be considered right is now turned upside down. Truth is labeled as extreme, while deception is praised as wisdom. But child, these are signs. In Matthew 24, my Son foretold these things: wars, earthquakes, plagues, betrayal, and the increase of wickedness. All are the beginning of birth pains. My Son is not surprised, and you must not be afraid. These things do not come to destroy, but to fulfill, so that those who love his appearing may rise and trim their lamps. I know there are times you wonder, what should I do in this age? The answer is not found in retreat, nor in panic, but in readiness, like the 10 virgins in the parable. The 5 who were wise brought oil for their lamps, while the foolish did not. When the bridegroom arrived, only those who were prepared entered in. I am asking you not as a distant father, but as one knocking on the door. Is your lamp still burning? Is your heart still ablaze with love for me, or have the cares of life extinguished the flame? Do not wait until the door is shut to realize you are unprepared. My child, the world is not heading toward destruction. It is approaching a divine appointment that has long been set. I, the Lord of history, will not allow evil to prevail. My son will return not as the slain lamb, but as the triumphant king. You've heard of that day. But now I want you to live as if it were near. An eclipse does not last long. It is but a brief silence in the flow of time where I whisper, the night is not the end. Light is about to burst forth, and he who is the light will appear, and every eye shall see him. Let your heart rejoice, not tremble, for his appearing is the hope of all who love the truth. Dear one, many will scoff and say, since our ancestors died, everything has remained the same. But as written in 2 Peter 3-9-10, I am not slow, as some understand slowness, but patient, not wanting anyone to perish. I delay because I love. But the hour of grace will not last forever. When the eclipse passes, the light returns, just as when the hour strikes. My son will return in unshakable glory. Live each day as if it were your last, not in fear, but in joy, in watchfulness, and in holiness. And my child, I do not call you only to wait. I call you to prepare and to participate. The return of Jesus is not only something to long for, but something to prepare others for. How many around you are still unready? How many remain in darkness? I placed you there to shine not through great talents, but by a faithful life. When you live with your heart set on that day, you are already living as a citizen of the coming kingdom. And I delight to see you beginning to understand this, because the time is near. My beloved child, the season of lukewarmness is coming to an end. I say this not to frighten you, but to awaken you from the haze where many souls are trapped. This world is no longer a place where you can dwell between two extremes. You cannot hold to the light and still flirt with darkness. You cannot read my word and chase after the sweet whispers of the flesh. I love you, and because I love you, I will not leave you in the middle ground, neither hot nor cold, neither advancing nor retreating, where your soul slowly withers, and you do not even realize it. You think silence is safety, that choosing no side avoids conflict. But in truth, silence is sometimes an answer. You remember my words in Revelation 3:16. Because you are lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, I will spit you out of my mouth. Do you see? I do not accept half-hearted leaven out of selfishness. But because I know half-heartedness will slowly kill your soul, true love must be whole just as I love you without holding back. Just as Jesus did not stop halfway to the cross. And if you want to follow me, you must choose decisively. There will be days when you don't feel wrong, but you don't feel right either. That gray space may seem harmless, but it is the perfect soil for deception to take root. The enemy doesn't need you to hate. Mate only needs you to delay. To hesitate, to stay undecided. It doesn't come with horns and fire, but with a whisper, you can do it later. Don't be too extreme. But child, it is these very whispers that lull so many souls into sleep who should be burning bright for me. It is in the delays that many miss their moment of awakening. I am calling you, don't delay any longer. The truth is, light and darkness cannot share the same space. Just as dawn cannot linger while the night remains, so your soul cannot contain both truth and lies. I have set before you two path zone that leads to life, one to destruction. I do not force you to choose, but I plead with you, do not choose by silence. Choose a life that speaks each day of what you believe. Do not wait for the day of decision, only to regret not standing earlier. For time does not stand still. and the line of distinction is drawing near like a clear boundary. Look around. My child, everything is being sifted. Light is shining in the hearts that surrender, and darkness is spreading in the souls that reject the truth. There is no longer a safe middle ground to hide in. I am purifying. I am threshing. I am separating. Like the wind passing through the threshing floor, the weighty grain will remain. The chaff will be blown away. I love all, but only those who choose to walk in my light will be able to stand in that day. Not because I exclude anyone, but because the choice lies in each heart. My beloved, choosing me is not always easy. You might lose friends, be misunderstood, or be called outdated, but you will find a peace the world cannot take from you. And more than that, you will stand in the light where there is no fear, no hiding, where your soul lives in truth. Do not let temporary things blur your eternal vision. Do not let the applause of man drown out the gentle yet serious call of the Father. Choose me. Choose life. Choose light, not just with your lips, but with the way you live each day. Therefore, today I stand at the door of your heart and knock. I do not demand perfect faith, but I desire a resolute heart. Be ready, my child, for there will be no more neutral ground. I am seeking hearts that dare to live for what is right, even if it means swimming upstream. And I know you can be one of them. You don't have to wait for someone else to go first. Step forward and my light will go with you. You thought that silence was safe, that by choosing no side, you could avoid conflict. But in truth, silence itself is sometimes an answer. Do you remember my words in Revelation 3:16? Because you are lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, I am about to spit you out of my mouth. You see, I do not accept half-hearted love-a-not out of selfishness, but because I know that lukewarmness slowly kills your soul. True love must be whole just as I love you without hesitation. Just as Jesus did not stop halfway on the road to the cross. And if you desire to follow me, you must choose fully and without wavering. My child, there will be days when you feel neither wrong nor right. That gray space may seem harmless, but it is fertile ground for deception to take root. The enemy doesn't need you to hate me. He only needs you to delay, to hesitate, to remain undecided. He doesn't come with horns and fire, but with a whisper. You can wait. Don't be too radical. But, beloved, it is those very whispers that have lulled to sleep countless souls who were meant to burn brightly for me. In that delay, many have missed the moment they were called to awaken. I am calling you now. Do not delay any longer. The truth is, light and darkness cannot dwell in the same place. Just as dawn cannot remain if the night has not withdrawn, your soul cannot harbor both truth and lies. I have set before you two paths leading to life, the other to destruction. I do not force your choice, but I plead with you, do not choose by remaining silent. Choose a way of living that proclaims each day what you believe. Do not wait for the day of decision only to regret that you didn't stand sooner. Time does not stand still, and the line of separation is drawing near, clear and undeniable. Look around. My child, the world is being divided. Light is radiating through surrendered hearts, while darkness spreads where truth is rejected. There is no longer a safe middle ground to hide in. I am refining, sifting, and selecting. Like wind sweeping across the threshing floor, only the heavy grains remain, while the chaff is blown away. I love all, but only those who choose to walk in. My light will stand firm in the days to come, not because I exclude anyone, but because the choice lies in each one's own hands. Beloved, Choosing me will not always be easy. You may lose friends, be misunderstood, or be seen as outdated. But you will find a peace that the world cannot take away. More than that, you will stand in the light where there is no fear, no hiding, where your soul lives in truth. Do not let the temporary dull your vision of eternity. Do not let the applause of men drown out the gentle, yet serious voice of your Heavenly Father. Choose me. Choose life. Choose light, not only with your lips, but with your daily life. So today I stand at the door of your heart and knock. I do not ask for perfect faith, but I long for a decisive heart. Be ready, my child, for there will be no more neutral ground. I am seeking those who dare to live for what is right, even if it means going against the tide, and I know you can be one of them. You don't need to wait for someone else to go first. Step out and my light will go with you. My beloved child, the times you are living in are no longer simple. This is not a season to live by emotion or to walk only by what you see and hear. This is a season of testing, of separation, of discernment. Not everything that glitters is my light. Not every smooth word is truth from my spirit. Do not be deceived by appearances, for today's darkness no longer shows itself as crude shadows, but hides in forms of light. You need ears that listen to the Spirit and a heart brave enough to question things that seem right but are not from me. Do you remember my words through the Apostle John, beloved? Do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God. For many false prophets have gone out into the world, 1 John 4:1. That word was not only for the apostles' time, it is for you. Right now, signs, wonders, prophecies, teachings, they can all be counterfeited, and some will come, bearing my name, speaking on my behalf. Yet their hearts do not belong to me. They use my name to mesmerize, to draw people to themselves, not to me. And if you do not discern, you will be swept away even with good intentions. I know you don't want to live with suspicion. You love simplicity. You want to believe the best in others, and that is not wrong. But I call you to be watchful, not naive. Discernment does not mean closing your heart. It means opening it in the right way. It means testing everything in the light of my word, not in the light of your feelings or the voice of the crowd. Some things look like me, but are not me. They use my name to gain attention. They speak of love to water down truth. They speak of freedom to justify sin. And if you cannot recognize them, you will trade holiness for temporary comfort. My child, miracles do not prove someone belongs to me. Only the fruit of the Spirit can reveal whether someone truly walks in the light. A good tree bears good fruit. One who is from me will produce humility, reverence for God, a servant's heart, purity, and no hunger for self-glory. But those not from me, though they speak rightly, act mightily, and hold great influence, will eventually reveal themselves by bitter fruit, pride, self-exaltation, division among brethren, and spiritual confusion. I am calling you to learn to see not just what people do, but why they do it. For in this season, many things may look like gold, but are merely gold-plated brass. Spiritual discernment does not come automatically. It must be nurtured through intimate relationship with me. You cannot recognize truth from falsehood just by listening to sermons or reading social media. You must learn to be still before me, to hear the whisper of my Spirit, and to test all things by my word. When you draw close to me, the counterfeit will expose itself. Your spirit will sound the alarm when something is off. Do not ignore that whisper. Do not numb your sensitivity with busyness or compromise. In this season, survival does not depend on knowledge, but on discernment. You must understand, when there is no discernment, the soul easily drifts, not by a single great fall, but by a slow and repeated misalignment, a sermon that is not wrong but lacks the cross, a teaching that is good but forgets sacrifice, an event labeled spiritual but exalts self above Christ. Bit by bit, the truth is replaced by a more palatable version, and one day, people find themselves worshiping a God they created, not me. That is why I emphasize, whoever has ears, let them hear what the Spirit says to the churches, Revelation 2-7. Not what people say, but what I say. So today, if you are confused, torn by many voices, signs, and charismatic figures, I urge you to return to me. Quiet your heart, be still, and ask me, Lord, is this truly from you? I am not too far to speak. I am not silent to your cry, but I am waiting for you to ask. I long for you not to rush after feelings or trends. I want you to learn to walk in true light, because when you walk in discernment, you will avoid the traps of deception and live a holy life, untouched by the rising tide of spiritual confusion around you. My beloved child, I do not think I only move within holy places or large gatherings. I am at work where you work, where you think, even in places you assume have nothing to do with me. The Holy Spirit does not come just to make you cry. He comes to make you think, to understand, to create, and to step into something new. For I am the one who created heaven and earth by my word. I am the source of all creativity. And when my Spirit is within you, you are not just a believer, you are a carrier of renewal for this world. Behold, I am making all things new, Revelation 21-5, and that begins in your heart. I have placed in every heart a piece of creativity not to keep for yourself, but to display the glory of the Creator in you. I do not only see a believer, I see a builder. Someone who can look at chaos and see order. Someone who can receive heavenly inspiration to write, construct, invent, solve, and connect. Do not confine creative purpose within the four walls of a church. I do not only pour ideas into those on the platform. I am preparing Daniels in the palace, Josephs in the court, artists, engineers, writers, programmers, all carrying my breath, my child. There are solutions the world is waiting for, and I have planted the seed of them in your heart. But for it to sprout, you must learn to be still and listen to me. I do not speak in noise like the world. I speak in silence, in the moments you put down your phone. When you walk and your heart opens, it is in those moments that I give ideas, open visions. Breathe into your mind, solutions never thought of before. And then you will marvel, knowing this did not come from human wisdom, but from the Creator, given to the one who listens and obeys. I am not calling you to imitate the world. I am calling you to establish something new. Fields such as education, technology, economics, and media all are in desperate need of renewal shaped by the Spirit of heaven. Not renewal for the sake of noise or novelty, but for the sake of restoration. The world is drying out from soulless innovations. Yet I am raising up a generation who listens to the Holy Spirit amidst a transient world so that life might flow into every profession. You don't need to leave the job you're doing. You simply need to do it with listening ears and a grateful heart. Perhaps you think, but I'm not a creative person. My child, every time you seek solutions with a prayerful heart, every time you write something that brings goodness, every time you ask, Lord, can I do this better for you? You are creating. You don't need to invent something monumental. Sometimes it's as simple as a new way to teach, a useful piece of software, or reorganizing your work to reflect kindness. Creativity doesn't always draw attention, but it always brings life. The Holy Spirit is the one who gives wisdom and revelation. When you worship me, pray, and keep your heart pure, the flow will come. Ideas will surpass human logic. Doors will open not because you know the right people, but because you are intimately connected with me. Creativity from heaven does not carry pride. It carries humility and the spirit of service. It is these kinds of people, humble, yet filled with the Spirit, who will change the world. And I believe you can be one of them. So, my child, do not stifle the creativity I have placed in you. Do not quench the stirring when you feel prompted to try something different. Pray, seek confirmation. But do not wait for perfect clarity before you move, for faith always steps out before understanding catches up. Through you, I will release things this world has never seen if you are willing to step out, to believe, and to obey the call, not for your own glory, but so that the one who placed the breath of creativity within you may be glorified among men. My beloved child, when you lift your eyes to the sky during an eclipse, you will see the light hidden, the heavens darkened, and everything seemingly paused. But I want you to remember, it is only temporary. The light has not vanished. It is only veiled for a moment. And just as it is with the sky, so it is with your life. There will be times when my light seems shrouded in cloud, days when you feel you no longer see or sense me. But child, I have never left. Just as the sun remains behind the eclipse, the true light ever present with you. In John 8:12, my son Jesus declared, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. This is not a metaphor, it is eternal truth. Jesus does not merely bring light, he is the light. He doesn't just guide the way, he is the way. And when you walk in that light, no matter how thick the fog around you, you will not lose your path. For the light that comes from heaven does not depend on circumstance, emotion, or season. That light transcends darkness, surpasses time, and leads you into everlasting life. Child, the darkness you are experiencing is not the end. It is part of the journey. Just like the moment of eclipse, when all seems swallowed by shadow, yet soon the light bursts forth again. Likewise, your soul may feel consumed by fear, doubt, or pain, but the light of Jesus does not fade. He is not hidden by your sin, nor does he retreat when you are weak. He remains waiting, illuminating you in ways you may not always perceive, but enough to guide your every small step. You may think you've gone too far, sunk too deep into the darkness to ever see the light again. But remember, light shines brightest in the darkest night. My son did not die under a clear midday sun, but when he gave up his spirit on the cross, darkness covered the earth. And then, when he rose, that light broke forth not just for one region, but for all mankind. It is a light that never goes out, that cannot be extinguished, not by betrayal, not by abandonment, not even by death. That light still overcomes, and now, he stands ready to shine into the deepest corners of your soul. Oh, my child, in these last days, many false lights will rise, voices that promise ease, methods that dazzle, theories that sound sweet, yet all may only blind you. But there is only one true lightened, that is my son. Jesus does not sparkle with artificial brilliance, but he endures within the heart. He did not come to steal the stage, but to transform the soul, Do not chase what glitters, anchor yourself in the true light, for only the true light can save your soul from eternal darkness. I know there will be moments when you grow weary, ready to give up, times when you look around and see others shining brighter, appearing more successful. But child, my light does not come to overwhelm, it comes to restore. It comes so that you may walk even, if just a single step each day. When you choose to remain in the light, darkness cannot overcome you. It may draw near, but it cannot consume. For where the true light dwells, darkness must retreat. And if you remain in Jesus, that light will grow within you, not in sudden flashes, but in steady strength. So, my dear one, though the world is entering darker days, you need not fear. The eclipse is but the shadow of a moment, but the true light shall return. And that light does not come from the cosmos, but from the one who created it all. Keep your eyes on Jesus. Anchor your heart in His word. Take each small step in that lightened you. 2. Will become a bearer of light to your family, your community, and to a world still searching for a hope that will never fade. My beloved child, if you are still reading these words, I know your heart is still open, still longing for what is true, still tender to the call of heaven. I rejoice that you did not turn away halfway, that you did not leave when the words became too deep or too real. For I never write letters to the wind. I write to your heart, a heart I once shaped with my very breath. And now, I call you not to lay on you a burden, but to offer you a lifa, true, abundant, and everlasting life. Child, the world you live in is not merely moving, it is shifting. The signs are not just to be admired, but to be understood. Eclipses, shadows, tremors from the heavens all are echoes, reminding that time is short. But in the midst of these signs, I do not speak out of wrath. I speak from the heart of a father longing for his child to return. Each sign carries a message. I am still here. I am still waiting. And the true light is nearer than ever before. Do not let your heart be misled into thinking I seek fear. No, child, I do not build my kingdom with panic. I build it with love. Every word I've written in this letter is not to condemn, but to draw you closer. I do not look at your failures to accuse. I see the unawakened potential, the things I placed in you before you ever spoke or walked, the gifts that will only ignite when you reconnect with megifts that will burn like fire in your soul. My precious one, if today you find yourself walking in a twilight zone, know this: my light is still strong enough to guide you. Even if all you can take is one small step, as long as you take it toward me, that light will begin to dissolve the darkness in your heart. You don't need to see the full path, you only need to see me, and you will never be lost. I know, in a world flooded with noise and confusion, your heart can grow weary. There are too many voices, too many ideologies, too many teachings that seem right but are far from truth. That is why I desire you not merely to be a listener but a seeker, not merely an observer but one who walks in the Spirit. For true light is not given to the spiritually lazy, but to those who hunger and thirst for righteousness and truth. Do not forget you were created to reflect that light. Jesus once said, "You are the light of the world," Matthew 5:14. It is not your own light, but His light shining through you. So do not hide it away out of fear of judgment, or because you feel unworthy. I do not wait for you to be perfect before I use you. I choose the weak and the humble, the ones who are willing to obey, who are willing to trust. And if you let me, I will make you a lampset on a stand to bring light to the house, the street, and the whole city. When the light of Jesus is in you, You will no longer tremble before the darkness outside. You will not be shaken by the chaos of the world, because you will know this light is stronger than death itself. It was this very light that rolled the stone away from the tomb. It was this light that pierced the heart of Paul on the road to Damascus. And it is this light that now dwells in you, and no one can extinguish it. Live with boldness. My child, walk as a child of the light without fear, without compromise, without turning back. I will be with you in every moment. And when the spiritual eclipse is past, you will still be standing not lost, but radiant with me. For I am the true light, and if you are in me, then you too shall be a light that never fades. Remember every word I have spoken to you. I reminded you that an eclipse is a divine sin, not to shock, but to awaken. I called you out of neutrality, for I do not seek half-hearted love. I urged you that discernment is vital, for many shadows will come disguised as light. I comforted you that I do not come to frighten you, but to invite you into deeper intimacy where there is no condemnation, only love. I declared that my love will cut through the darkness, bringing healing and restoration. I stirred within you a vision of spiritual revival, where you will not merely watch, but become a living vessel I can use. And, my child, do not forget, I am releasing new creativity through the Spirit. I am giving you ideas, solutions, even technologies not for fame, but for the restoration of the world. What is from heaven does not fall into careless hands. It comes to those who have ears to hear and hearts to believe. But above all, the greatest truth I want you to remember is this: Jesus, my sonus, the true light. No darkness can extinguish that light. No power can obscure his glory. You may go through seasons of uncertainty and disorientation, but that light remains faithful, steadfast, unchanging, for he is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So now, my child, it is time for you to choose, not to please people, but to live true to your calling, not because of fleeting emotions, but for eternal life. I will not force you. I will not push you, but I will keep standing at the door of your heart and knocking. I am not calling you to be instantly perfect. I am simply inviting you to take one step, a small but canine step, a step toward the light, a step toward the truth, a step into a life connected with me. And I promise with every step that follows, I will be with you. I will teach you, lift you up, and wipe away your tears. I will not leave you abandoned, for I am not a distant God. I am your Father. When that day comes, the day when the heavens are torn open, and every eye beholds my Son in his glory, I want to see you there, not cowering in fear, not hidden in shadow, but standing boldly in the light, knowing exactly to whom you belong. And when your eyes meet mine, I will not ask how many miracles you performed, or how great your influence was. I will ask, were you in me? And my longing is to hear you say, I belong to you today, on that day, and forever. Oh, therefore, my child, be awake, be resolute, come home, live truthfully, walk in the light, and remember, darkness is only temporary. The true light remains and is always Jesus. Signed, with all of my heart, your Father, the Eternal One, the one who loved you before you ever knew my name. Thank you for listening to this message. Know this: you are not just an audience, you are chosen to live daily in the presence of God's Word. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any sacred message. Amen.